Good afternoon from UK. I'm actually going to say that. Yeah, because we've got our first Irishman. Irishman. Or Irish lass.
The Irish lass.
Irish lass, yeah. Yeah. We've got another mindset coach. Yvonne. Please don't kill me if I say this wrong. Yvonne Doherty.
Doherty. Not too bad.
Doherty.
Yeah. Tends to go to Doherty in like England and that, so you did pretty well.
Yeah. Shall I pronounce it as Yvonne or Von? What?
Yvonne. Yeah.
Yvonne. There you go. Right. She is a certified mindset and empowerment coach. She's passionate about empowering her clients to master their mental health so they can confidently create a life they love living. Having overcome her own struggles with mental health, she combines her personal experience with studies of human behaviour and personal development to help clients on a one-to-one basis and through online courses. Welcome to Warrior TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Now, I know there's going to be some interest because I think my phone's been pinging non-stop with people wanting to tune in.
Yes, love that. Great support out there.
Oh, there is, yes. I know a lot of people have been looking for towards this, and I know Steve Knapp is a bit gutted because it's like midnight his time.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, he needs to get his rest, but he can catch up, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, for the viewers, tell me who you are in the comments, where you're tuning in from, and let's hear your story and stuff like that. And we're always looking for guests here, always. Even though we're booked up for the next couple of weeks every day, so but oh well. One of them. So, Yvonne, I'm going to throw some quick fire questions to you, and I'm just going to try not to repeat myself. So, I'm going to say your favourite colour.
Purple.
Okay. Would you say chicken or pork?
Neither. I'm vegan.
Oh, vegan? Okay. Favourite fish, then?
To look at.
No, to eat?
No, don't eat fish.
Okay, what to look at, then?
I was thinking dory came to mind straight away, so we'll go with those dory fish. The ones from Finding Nemo.
Oh, dory fish, yeah.
That's where they originate, yeah.
Apparently they're hard to look after, they are.
Really?
Apparently, yeah. Yeah, because I've always wanted to get my daughter Nemo and a dory fish, but I'm like, after doing research, they're hard to look after. I don't know.
I was going to say.
Pop or jazz?
Ooh. I'm not sure. Straight away in my mind was like jazz, but I know no jazz and I can back that up with, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. Maybe it's jazz. Maybe there's some jazz in me that I'm not aware of just yet.
Pop or rock, then?
Rock.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Favorite artist, then, in the rock?
Ooh. God, I don't know. Struggling. I feel like I jump from artist to artist. So I feel like recently I've been listening to Gang of Youths. They've just come out with a new album, so we'll go with them for the moment. They're currently up there.
I like a bit of Evanescence, so yeah.
Yeah, I haven't listened to them.
And Linkin Park. So,
yeah.
Or maybe Bon Jovi.
Bit of everything, yeah.
Yeah. Favorite dressing on the salad.
Can we get away with like a peanutty sauce, like a satay-ish, maybe?
Never heard that in my life. Who knows? And I'm going to ask this. I have to because I'm sick of this debate right now. Does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Yes.
No. Oh my god! But yeah. Yeah, so for everyone that's tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, please say hello. I'll just click this now. Okay, not there yet. But anyway, so let's start with who's Yvonne? Like, where's she originally from, and what does she do?
Excellent question. So yeah, I'm originally from Ireland, as you may have noticed, a place called Leixlip, which is just outside Dublin. Whenever I'm traveling, I just say Dublin because it's easier that way. And what I do now is mindset coaching. So as I said in the intro, essentially working with people on their mindset to help empower them and to realize their own inner power and conquer things like anxiety and depression, even just that disconnection from our own selves and our own power. And I suppose part of the reason I do that is because of my own challenges with that and because of my own journey throughout that. And one of the main motivating factors for me when I was going through that was like, someday I want to help other people with that. Someday I want to be able to use this experience to empower other people or to help them get through it because I've been there and I can help them walk that path. So that was something that really resonated with me, but I had to do the work myself first. And so, yeah, I did that. Took a number of years to overcome those challenges and then found my freedom, got to know myself. And I was like, wow, life is actually amazing. And so I went traveling for a few years. I was in New Zealand for a year, then Australia for 2 years, where I met some of those lovely people that we mentioned earlier, like Steve Knapp. Well, not met physically, actually, I studied coaching in Melbourne. And that's how I got into this finally. So it's something that had been on my mind for a long time. And it was just kind of cementing my own sense of self and building up my own confidence before I went for it. And now I've been back home since March 2020. And this is just what I want to be doing now. I want to be putting full time into the business. That kind of a little summary of how we got here.
Fantastic. So, so what age would you say you actually found your identity, like through these challenges?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's still always evolving. So I feel like it's even still something that I'm exploring. I'm changing and stuff, but I'm like way more willing to be on that journey, and it's an okay place to be. Whereas before I had no sense of self. So I feel like around 21-ish, 22, I was starting to find my feet in that place and starting to get a sense of what do I value, what do I care about, what matters to me, what strengths, qualities do I have, and things like that. And then building them up to a place where I was actually owning those things and really embracing this person that I was finding myself to be and learning to like myself, learning to love myself and moving on from there. So yeah, I feel like early 20s and then still evolving and growing.
Yeah. So what was she like as like a little girl?
Very much a probably typical good girl, quiet, shy, good at school. Yeah, quite nervous to like speak up. A little bit different now, but yeah, would have been very awkward and found groups challenging. Didn't want to put up my hand in school and things because I was afraid of everyone looking at me. And there would have been different times where when I was doing well academically, it wasn't well received by my peers and that, and it's called a SWAT or stuff like that. So I found school kind of challenging when I was younger, but I was also a gymnast when I was a little girl as well. So I trained like 6 days a week. I was very disciplined. Very much in routine and things. So yeah, she had a lot going on, young Yvonne.
Yeah. So so obviously you'd say you were a class clown in school then.
Like the exact opposite. Yeah, that would make me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Class clown. But you still graduated then, and you pissed a lot of teachers off them.
Yeah, exactly.
So if any of your old teachers were watching now or on the replay, what advice would you actually give them now? If you didn't have the guts to say then.
I feel like, honestly, thinking about it now, because I was really struggling in school, I did find it really challenging, like mentally, to be there. So I feel like even just giving them that advice of like look at your students as humans and see what's going on for them, and just like tune in a little bit and notice that, okay, this person might actually use a bit of extra help, or maybe it's not okay that everyone's turning around right now and like looking at them in that way, or like different things like that. Just like tuning into your students more as humans with the challenging experience that being a teenager is, or things like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So really just saying thank you then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
Absolutely. Were you bullied at some point?
Yeah, like kind of just in little comments and things like that, because I would have been like good. I would have like gone by the rules and stuff and would have hated to get in trouble or anything like that. So I would have been more, not intentionally teacher's pet, but a little bit. That's how it kind of came up. And so, yeah, people, if I knew the answer to something, it's like everyone rolls their eyes and it's like, oh, Yvonne, is answering this or whatever, to a point where I just didn't put my hand up anymore. I didn't want to be seen to know things. But yeah, it was like never super intense, but it was very much affected like how I saw myself and what I thought about myself and how I interacted with the idea of being like good at things or succeeding or putting yourself out there. I think that made quite an impact on me.
Yeah. So would you say those bullies actually triggered you to get these challenges in later life?
Potentially like part of it, because I felt like it wasn't okay to be who I was. And I think that's a big element of what I found challenging, because then like I tried to kind of shapeshift and stuff to try and fit in with people. I was like, I'll just like what they like. Or so I really externalized my sense of self and my sense of worth into what everybody else thought and was doing and wanted me to be. So yeah, I think it definitely contributed to that idea that who I am is not enough. What I like, being smart is like not a good thing. So I should suppress part of me, or I shouldn't express what I want to say, or yeah, different things like that really contributed to just disconnecting from myself.
Yeah. And hello, Sandy Jew. She's all the way from Australia. She's tuning in. She says hi to us both.
Hello.
Yeah, a lot. And if you've got any questions, Sandy, don't hesitate. Just throw them. So that's what we are. Even though I am melting and I'm starting to elevate like that. So, oh well. One of them. Heat wave. We're supposed to have thunder and lightning last night, but we never did.
No, it's just increasingly getting hotter. Yeah.
It is. We need rain so I can lie in it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that'd be so nice.
But yeah, again, I'm stood next to a freezer, so I could just lie in there for a bit.
There you
go. So obviously you qualified, you fought through all these challenges, and yeah. So what happened after school?
So after school, when I left, we would have done our final exams. Leaving cert is what it's called, and everybody was going to college or uni, I guess, in the UK, and so I thought I had to go as well. Me, who is now at this point very anxious, like developing an eating disorder, depressed, and it was like, okay, now it's time to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself today. Like I was struggling so much, but it was a kind of time where everyone was making this decision. So you go through the process, and at the time I was very obsessed with my body, with food, with things like that. And so I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll become a nutritionist. So then I'll have the scientific means to lose weight. So I don't have to, because it was very confusing trying to find this information online or stuff. Or all diets seem to contradict each other. So where my mindset was at the time, yeah, it's nonsense. But I was just like, okay, if I can find the way to do this, that's what I'll do. So I put that up the top of the list of kind of my options, and then everything else was an option to get into that ultimately. And so I ended up doing sports science because I didn't get the points for nutrition itself. So sports science was meant to get me into that. And I went and did that for about a month, and I ended up dropping out because I don't like science. I didn't even want to do that. I just wanted it as a means to do this other thing, which is coming from a distorted place. So it was totally mismatched to me and who I was and what I wanted. And so I couldn't stick it, and I was getting really panicky going in. I was having panic attacks quite often. So yeah, I gave that up. And then that was kind of like a really low part of my journey, because I felt like everybody else is at college now, having that college experience and stuff, and they all know what they want, and I still don't have a clue. That didn't work out. So now what am I supposed to do? So yeah, it was not a good time. It was very challenging going through that. And then, do I get work? Do I try and go back to uni? What is it that I do now with myself? It was, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's backtrack and talk about that eating disorder. Like, because I've never interviewed someone who's actually went through that. So obviously, big respect to you for actually opening up about it. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I suppose that's connected into the other challenges that I was experiencing. Like that, initially, I feel like my loss of sense of self very much stemmed around, like I said, I was a gymnast for about 12 years of my life. So I was constantly training, and then I got a back injury where I couldn't train anymore. And then I didn't know what to do with myself. And I was like, this has been my thing. This is who I am. I'm Yvonne the gymnast, or I'm Yvonne the smart one. Like that was like who I was. It was very much based on these things that weren't me. And when I lost that, when I wasn't able to do that anymore, I was around 13, 14. And I had more time on my hands. I wasn't part of like my friend groups as much because I was always training, and I felt very isolated. And I started becoming more aware of my body, and I started becoming more confused about like, well, what makes me me? What do I like? What do I want to do? And I started kind of descending from there, and it just kind of developed that way. So like the depression and anxiety are very much tied in with that as well. And with the eating disorder presented, it's a way, it comes as a kind of solution. It's like something to deal with these emotions, or it's a way of coping, essentially. It's not like a lot of people will see it as like it's to do with body image and stuff, and that's kind of how it manifests and presents. But ultimately the challenge that I was experiencing was not feeling good enough, not knowing who I was, and not knowing what to do with the experience that arises from that. So there would have been probably when I was around 15, 16, up until probably 14, 15, 16, very conscious of food, very much like I need to reduce it, it needs to become less. And then from there, just up until I was about 21 was when I fully recovered, but it was just an ongoing battle with it. And it was kind of all forms of the behaviors that you'll get with eating disorders. Like I would have experienced all of them. And like that, it was just trying to do something that felt like I was okay, or trying to connect, or even avoid. Like I would have used it to avoid certain things or to get out of certain situations, because I got to a point where I just felt like I can't handle life. I don't know how to do it. And so that's kind of it manifested in those particular times as well, when I was feeling quite isolated and disconnected from myself and from life.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a question. Brenda Grund, how were things different for you when you went to middle school to high school?
Middle school, what kind of age is that? You know,
I think that's like primary school.
Yeah, primary, secondary.
To high school, yeah.
I think that was quite challenging, because like that, I was a very shy, quiet kid in school. And then when we went into like secondary school, it's a much bigger school. There's a lot more people. We're in different classes. And I had like one best friend, like all of my youth, essentially. It was the same person. We had kind of started growing a bit apart. But aside from her, I felt like I didn't know how to make friends, and I didn't know how to interact with people and things like that. So yeah, I find it quite challenging. On one side, I felt like this is an opportunity to kind of grow more into myself and stuff, but at the same time I didn't really know how to do that. And like I feel like that was coming more from like parents and teachers being like, oh, you're in a new school now, you get to do new subjects, things are a bit different, and it sounds like this could be a nice new start. But yeah, I find it quite difficult to fit in, find it quite difficult to feel good about myself. And like that was kind of coinciding into the end of my gymnastics career, for want of another word. So yeah, it was just difficult then as well.
Absolutely. Now, because obviously when we watch like the Olympics or the Paralympics and all that, I'm always looking at the like gymnastics. I'm like, why are they looking like that? Do they have some sort of mental health challenge or something like that? Like we normally look at them thinking, right, that's just the Olympic. They got fit and stuff like that. But would you say in some way they were actually forced to look like that?
It's hard to say. I'd say it's probably varies different countries, definitely as well. Because I would have trained in Russia at one stage as well, and I was like quite surprised at how strict they were, to put it mildly. And the gymnasts were very much just like, again, kind of not seen as like young children, like doing a sport. It was like, this is very serious and you need to get back up and do that again. I know you've just fallen down, you've hurt yourself, you're crying right now, get back up and do it again. So there is that kind of attitude around it. I feel like here, maybe not so much, but you are very physically active. There is a lot put on your body being able to perform for you. So it nearly becomes like an instrument and an ornament, instead of like, what does my body want to do in this situation? There is that kind of like pressure on it and forcing it to do certain things. And like that, I would have learned things from that, where it's like, push past the pain, or like, there's no such word as I can't, or like these different messages that would have come from my own training, where it's like, you keep pushing, because that's what you have to do. That's what's required of you to be able to do the level that you want. So yeah, I think it's maybe not necessarily explicitly said you have to be a certain way or whatever, but I know certain gymnasts have been told you're not the right shape for this, or like you need to maybe be more careful around that. And little comments like that are going to significantly impact people, particularly young girls, I think. So
the mindset as well.
Yeah, even that, the harshness and the level of just like discipline is like severe discipline. But yeah, I think it is one where you are going to become more focused on your body, you are going to be more aware of your body, and especially as it's changing, as it's like growing and that kind of thing, you're in a leotard every single day, so you are going to be conscious of that. Like, it just goes with the territory, I think.
Exactly. Kerry, I need the charger. We've got another comment, and I don't know, it's off a page. Key to unlock your potential. Loving the interview and for being so honest about your experience and also your inspiring plans. I don't know who's commented that. I don't know. But thank you anyway for that comment.
Appreciate it nonetheless.
Brenda, eating disorders and intense ballet and gymnastic training at a young age go hand in hand too often. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. It is. Yeah, it's something that I think unfortunately does come with the territory, and it's hard to know where it is stemming from. Like, is it...
Yeah, I am here.
Is it like through the messaging from the coaches, or maybe the more education needs to be there? But I think, yeah, it is just when you're looking at your body as like something that has to do something for you. I think there is that disconnect from like the human behind that. And it's like, well, how is this affecting that person? How is this affecting them mentally? How are they receiving this feedback I'm giving them? And I think it's something that is overlooked or not really engaged with when people are like, no, you just need to do it now. You need to go now. It can be very competitive and disregarding the person.
Absolutely. Now, where do you think that education should start?
Good question. I feel like there's many places, because I am doing some stuff around like getting into schools and that, and it is something that's been on my mind. It's like I would like to, even in different sports, like across the board, just how people are relating to themselves. So I think it would need to be the big people in these areas. It would need to be the coaches. It would need to be the teachers. It would need to be those people who are working with young, impressionable people. They need to understand at least some level of, not necessarily human psychology, but like how children take things on or how young people take things on. Because like that, I would have started when I was about 4 or 5, and then it would have gone up to like 14-ish, and then did it kind of on and off then when I could. But yeah, it's a long time and you spend a lot of your time there. So like any kind of caregiver or anyone who is around someone young and impressionable, they need to have that responsibility on how they are potentially affecting them.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, what you put in your bio about the human behaviour and personal development. Now, obviously, behaviour is massive, and not many people actually see those signs.
Yeah, I find it so fascinating. I found it so interesting since being on my own journey and just understanding how our thoughts, our feelings and behaviors are also interlinked. And it's what I find like so intriguing is like, why do we do the things that we do? Why do people do these things? And sometimes it can be easy to blame someone or get mad at someone when their behavior is a certain way. But it's like, well, I'm curious, like, how can they come from that place? Because I believe that we all are inherently loving, we're all inherently abundant, whole and complete. And so if we are acting in certain ways, I would believe there's generally a reason. There's some reason why people behave in those ways. So yeah, that kind of stuff, just like I think it stemmed from my own journey, getting introduced to opening my mind to like, well, why am I doing the things that I'm doing and how can I change this? And when I did change my behavior, I'm like, that's insane. At different times I thought there's no way I'll be able to not do this. And then you come to a life of complete freedom from those behaviors. And it's like, oh, actually, we can totally transform how we interact with our lives. So yeah, I've just been on a
absolutely. Yeah, that's fine, Brenda. She has to go to work, but she watched the rerun. That's absolutely fine. Please share this in awareness. Kerry, my partner. Yeah, self-care is critical. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is critical. But glad she's still listening. But if you've got any questions, Kerry, because obviously she comes on podcasts as well. Yeah, she does her own interviews, which is absolutely awesome. She really is. Put your head in it. So yeah, let's talk about like your first job.
My first job, I would have been coaching gymnastics, funnily enough, was probably the first one. And I did that kind of like, because it would have been after school hours. I think that was after I dropped out of college and I was looking for something. And then after that, I was in retail doing both. That's kind of where I started, yeah. So that was good fun because I didn't really feel like work because I was like, I get to just like mess around, and it would have been like Tiny Tots was one of the groups where they're like 2 and 3 year olds, so you're just kind of like starting movement and that kind of thing, and there's a lot of like messing and games and stuff, so that was good.
Absolutely. And I know like from experience with all these challenges anyway, obviously like I've never experienced an eating disorder as it is, but it can really affect like relationships with partners as well.
Yeah, totally. It's all consuming, like when you're experiencing it, or that's my experience of it anyway, because it's a constant thing and it doesn't go away. Like, even I was just only reflecting on this the other day, like the thoughts of holidays or sunny weather and things like that. I hated that because I wanted to be covered up all the time. I didn't want my shape to be seen, or I didn't want people to really see me just in general. And so if you're with a partner and they want to go out and do things and I just want to stay at home and avoid the world, or you want to go out for dinner and I don't have to, but I felt like I had to do all these calculations first, or like skip a few things first and like make room for it, like all of the things that I would do to try and shuffle it around. Or it would just, obviously as well, when you're like not nourishing yourself, you're going to be more ratty, you're going to be more moody just as a natural result of not looking after yourself. So yeah, definitely have a lot of sympathy for past relationships and what you would have experienced like as a result of that.
Yeah. Well, you look a lot happier anyway, which is brilliant.
Yeah, no, delighted with life now.
Oh, fantastic. So, what's next for Yvonne?
Few things on the go. So with my own business, I want to be working with as many people as possible, one-to-one clients and online courses as well, to help people like that get their mindset to set them up for a free life. I also work with a company called Wolf Academy, and what they're doing is bringing online wellbeing courses into schools, into secondary schools here. And so with them, I could do talks and workshops in the schools as well. So that's something that I feel really passionate about as well, because like that, I remember being a young person, I remember the challenge, that's where my challenges started. So if we can help educate young people when they're at that age and stage, when they're trying to figure out who they are, when how you look or how you are on social media seems to be the most important thing, I want to like help to redirect their focus onto just how much potential they all have within themselves, and to understand themselves, so that they don't feel like they have to just go to college because everyone else is, or they have to just do literally anything because anyone says so, that they actually have their own voice and their own perspective, that they can really drive forward to do whatever they feel like in life.
Yeah, I think teachers these days, they don't have the training or the knowledge or the understanding in teaching kids about good resilience.
Yeah, resilience is totally the key word. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. See, obviously, I've just recently completed that course, understanding children and young people's mental health. So it all stems back to resilience and the mindset.
Yeah.
Because our mental health, like mine and yours, are different to like someone who's like 6 and 7 years old.
Yeah. And the more people who understand that and understand even the developmental differences, or how different challenges are going to rise, or even like what does a child need at that age? What does a teenager need at that age? What are they looking for when they're doing certain behaviors or things? Like, what are they missing out on? Like, that's what we want to like help to share that knowledge, so that if a teacher does notice someone's find it hard, or even if like even that idea that like the subjects taught at school are more important than these things is kind of baffling. But if we can bring in more education around this and around that kind of resilience, then of course our young people are just going to thrive. They're going to do so much better in life than necessarily getting A's or whatever it is. Like,
yeah. So would you say, like, we're trying to do something regarding this as well down this path. So would you say that mental health should be removed from the PHSE lessons and stand as its own individual topic?
Yeah, I reckon so. Mental health, mental strength, mental resilience, all of those kind of things like brought together. I think it needs to be a standalone thing. I think if we get, like they say, physical education, you just do that kind of thing in the gym or whatever, but there needs to be more education about our minds, how we can work with our minds, how we can be with ourselves, be with our minds, and learn to develop that relationship. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of thrown in there because like, oh, this is one of those topics that will fit in with the rest of the SPHE or whatever it is. But yeah, to have a standalone place and to give it that significance, because it is so important. If we're just lumping it in with a bunch of other stuff, it's not showing that this is actually fundamental and key to your development and key to your life being how you want it to be. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I totally get it, because I've noticed from doing this course that young people as young as like 13, 14, 15, they're at the biggest high percentage for self-harm.
Mm.
And I think that figures, that statistic, can actually be reduced if it's taught in like year 5 and year 6 in primary school.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. And it's crazy that there is statistics like that for, like you say, it's so preventable. We don't have to have the young people going through these experiences, and it's just that lack of, I think it's fundamental understanding as well. I think we're past the point of awareness. It needs to be actual understanding and like knowledge about this from a place of moving through it, overcoming it, instead of just like highlighting the problem. We need to be like solution focused as well, I feel, to empower people to know, okay, if I feel like this, what can I do about it, instead of ruminating on it or making more of a problem out of it. I think people, I guess, just need those tools and those tips and that guidance to move through it, to know what to do.
Absolutely. So next one is, why haven't you written a book?
Because my time management is shocking.
It's not. We've always got time on our hands.
Managing it though, I've started writing one, and then I stopped, and someone literally reminded me about it yesterday, and they're like, how's that book coming along? I was like, oh, it's coming up slowly. So yeah, 2 reminders in 2 days. I reckon maybe I'll have to do something about that.
Hey, that's not me reminding you. That's me asking it up front.
That's why I'm taking it.
Fair enough. So, yeah. I physically don't know what to say anymore. I think we've covered it all. But if you've got anything else to say, that'll be fine.
No, really, I feel like I've used a lot of my words. Just thank you so much for having me on. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's always good to talk about these things. I love what you guys are doing and shining a light on the different topics and having different perspectives and people on. It's so powerful, and it's definitely so valuable, so needed. So yeah, thank you. Delighted to be a part of it.
You are most welcome. You really are, and you will not be a stranger on Warrior TV. You won't. We'll be dragging you back on at some point.
Delighted. Bring it on.
So on that note, thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Okay, there's a question. What book are you writing?
It's going to be called Whole, and it's about returning home to the wholeness of who you are. So it'll be kind of going through the different things that I do with clients, different things that I've learned, different things I've used in my own experience. And now that I've said this out loud, this is definitely happening. So stay tuned.
I know, because I want that book.
Yeah, awesome. I will get on it. I'll let you know.
Absolutely. So if there's any more questions anyone else has got, I will end this. Anything else? Just give it about 10 seconds. No? Okay. And on that note, thank you for coming on. You've been awesome. You're a true warrior in the making, and I'm glad you've overcome all them challenges.
Thank you so much. Yeah, totally a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So please join me again tonight at 8 o'clock. So that's in basically almost 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours. 5 hours. I don't know. I really don't know. I've got Jason Cotton. He's got bipolar, so we'll be talking to him about that. So yeah, please tune in for that. And on that note, I'm going to end this now. See you back.